haven't had the chance to do one of these in a while. Been busy with work and making plans and stuff for the future, but I did want to check in. I have been wanting to do one of these a while back. I think I had done a video here at the gym waiting to go in. I just ate a little bit, so been hitting the gym a little more, trying to get back into tip-top shape. 45 now, getting old, so it is what it is. Got to do what I can. But definitely got a lot of plans for the future. I put a lot of stuff in motion. A lot of the stuff that's been up here is now kind of getting put down into reality, and so we'll see over the next couple of years how that works out. What I did want to talk about was, on YouTube you get a lot of promotion of fear. If you remember, over the past couple of years, it was, oh, the stock market is going to collapse. So the housing market, any moment now, housing is going to collapse. Or my favorite was the food shortages. Food shortages are coming. There's going to be no food. Go out there and buy all the food that you can. And of course, a lot of preppers were always talking about this. And I had said previously in other videos, I was like, well, if that's the case, if you're worried about inflation, then consume less. If you're worried about that there isn't going to be enough food, then produce more. And of course, that was never on the menu, because that requires action upon you. And of course, it removes fear. And so this was something I was thinking about today in the book of 1 John 4:18, where John had talked about love and fear and how fear exercised a restraint, typically in the view of punishment. And so that's one of the reasons why YouTube and the government love to promote fear. Oh, the Russians are coming. There's a pandemic. You're going to get sick. You're going to die if you don't do this, right? And you see this, the normalization of fear. Of course, for the purpose of fear is to exercise restraint. It hinders you from taking action. It hinders you from moving forward. It hinders you from taking advantage of opportunities. And I remember this when I was doing travel contracts back in like 21 and early 22. And I was looking to buy some farmland. And of course, because of the promotion of fear that, oh, the housing market is going to come down. Don't buy now. Don't buy now because it's all going to come down and you're going to miss out on the discounts. And none of that happened. And I saw a lot of affordable homesteads come off the market. And I kept saying, oh, that's a good price. But everybody's talking about how housing is going to come down. It's going to come down. It's a bubble. It's got to come down. And I missed out on the opportunity. I missed out on the opportunity to buy good farmland with structure on it, with a house on it, with barns, etc., at a reasonable price. And I can't find it. At the time that I was looking, and of course, now it's much higher than it was then. It was probably about 7 to 8.5 per acre. So if you were looking to buy 20 acres with a house and a barn, you were looking at about, on the low end, a good deal would have been 7K, but most of them were like 8.5, 9K, like maybe 10K was on the high. Can't even find that right now. And of course, where I was looking, which was in Pennsylvania, can't even find that anymore. It's just not there. Whatever was there all got scooped up. And so the narrative of the fear of housing is going to come down and collapse, and then you're going to miss out on opportunities, you're going to overpay, you're going to be underwater if you buy now, none of that happened. Everybody that was talking about the stock market is going to come down, if you buy now you're going to be left holding the bag, none of that happened. All the people that bought into the fear exercised restraint, had their ability to take advantage of opportunities hindered by listening to individuals promoting, the fear, the sky is falling. And you're seeing the same thing now. People are talking about, oh, the CBDC is coming, or you're going to be forced to do this, or you're going to be forced to do that. And all that does is create an atmosphere of fear. You see the same thing with relationships. You see a lot of promotion of fear within relationships. Oh, the divorce court and X, Y, and Z, and all women are like this. And so all it does is it hinders men from being able to form relationships. It hinders men from the desire to even interact or even protect women because of the promotion of always the outcome. A lot of the people who push, red pill content, you don't see the opposite. You never see the opposite of the good parts of relationships. They don't promote what is good. And of course, again, the Bible talks about the promoting of what is good. If most of these people talked about how fabulous relationships was, how amazing it is to have children, the great part of family life, you'd see more people doing that. And this is why the government, through YouTube, promotes all of this stuff, because it works in conjunction with what they want. The government wanted inflation. I talked about this, I think back in 2020, I did a video talking about how the government wants inflation. They want inflation. They want to promote inflation. And so everybody piggybacks off of this narrative. Oh, this is going to happen at any moment now. Oh, you don't want to be a landlord. This is one guy, this one YouTuber who talks about how the greatest transfer of wealth is going to happen. You're going to be destroyed. Take advantage by buying my course on how to fix your credit so that you can take advantage of the opportunity. And it's like, well, if everything's going to collapse, if the global elites are going to take everything away, and there's no way that you're going to survive, what the fuck is buying a course or buying a service to fix your credit going to do? But it's what promotes. And so you see this constant narrative of fear. The sky is falling. It's all going to shit any moment now. Civil war. This is why they promote that movie. This is what the Civil War, this is why they promote that movie. And then the other one, Leave the World Behind, right? What does it do? Everything now that you look at is a conspiracy theory. Every time something negative happens, it's always, see, I told you so, the confirmation bias. And so what does it do for people? It confirms their fears and it hinders them from moving forward. You have a lot of people that are looking at, for example, like, oh, Donald Trump is going to save us. If only we get our guy in office, well, then everything is going to be fixed. And if our guy doesn't get into office, well, then it's all going to go to shit. And this is what you get. It removes the personal responsibility from the individual and puts the onus on the collective, on the government, on Donald Trump, on the Republicans, on the right. And this is the point. The point is to hinder people from making personal choices. I talk about this, as a travel nurse, when, I'd meet a lot of different nurses and they're like, oh, it's not fair. You guys get paid more. And I'm like, well, yes, on paper, but we don't get any sick days. We don't get any, you're not getting paid for holidays. There's a lot that we don't get, right? Most of us, I think, I personally opt out of the insurance. And so there's a lot that we don't get, and then basically that just gets fronted to us in the form of a paycheck. You have to make the decision to save. You have to make the decision to invest. You have to have the rainy day fund. Whereas, if I want to call out, I just don't get paid. That's it. I don't have sick days. I don't have holidays. I don't have paid holidays. And so I would tell people, I was like, if you want the higher pay, well, then you have to make a different choice. You have to be willing to forsake all this stuff over here to get paid more. And many people just don't want to do that. They just want the extra pay plus all the benefits. I'm like, it doesn't work that way. You have to be willing to take a little bit more of a risk. And a lot of people just don't want to do that. They're very comfortable where they are. And I was like, shoot, go ahead. Travel cross country. Take a contract at a hospital where they're short. You don't like working short. So then what are you going to do, right? This is why, of course, we get paid more. But for most people, they just like to take the onus off of them, and they want to throw the responsibility on the business owner. Oh, the businesses should pay us more. It's not that you should do more. It's not what the Bible says, that the worker is worthy of the wage. You're just not wanting to work. And so you see a lot of this stuff with the coming narratives, the CBDC, the government is coming for you, you will own nothing and you will be happy. And of course, people do nothing. Instead of motivating people to do more, instead of painting a bright future, the narrative is always this negative future. And only, Donald Trump will be the one to save us. And what happens if that doesn't happen? Well, then the narrative is, well, I guess everything is going to continue to go to shit. And it's sad that this is basically what is promoted. And of course, this is why I don't spend so much time, on YouTube, because this is often what you see. If I do watch something, it's typically, something positive, talking about not necessarily the motivating videos, but more like educational videos on the proper mindset to have for starting a business, which I'm starting next year, for growing food, getting involved in agriculture, going back to school and learning more about nursing to be more skilled, to be able to garner more money in the future. This is kind of the stuff that I typically pay attention to. And I just wish, especially when it comes to relationships, I mean, if all you watch are the red pillers who only talk negatively about relationships, I mean, I traveled into the countryside. You go out into the countryside, most of the young nurses, they're like sub 25 years old. And most of them are either in relationships or already married. And that's stuff that you don't see focused on from the red pill perspective in terms of relationships. It's always, women are whores, and if you're not sleeping with them on the first, second, or third date, well, then somebody else is. Then they continue to promote this toxic negativity within relationships. And of course, it permeates into men's lives. You end up getting confirmation bias from the way people live their lives in the big cities. But it doesn't mean that it will necessarily be your reality. Their experience and what they promote doesn't necessarily have to be the way that your life turns out, because what you choose in your everyday day-to life, from getting up every morning and making the decision to exercise, to reading instead of watching, the fear porn on YouTube, it will make a change in your life, because you'll then act in ways that are in conjunction with your way that you're now reshaping your mind. This is why the Apostle Paul talked about to become new in the force that actuates your mind, and that what you choose to focus on will be the way that you will continue in a specific direction. And this is why when he was talking to Christians at that time, he was like, well, if you focus on this is what's going to motivate you. It's the actuator that pushes you and it propels you in a specific direction. And that's why he encouraged them to make your mind new, so that it will promote you in a different direction and you'll have a different outcome. Anyway, I got to go to the gym and I got stuff to do. I hope everything is great with you. Thanks for watching, and I'll check you next time.